Hello, I'm Gail Royster, President of the Rotary Club of Hudson. Rotary International is a 100-year-old organization of 1.2 million business and professional leaders in more than 200 countries, providing humanitarian service, building goodwill, and peace in the world. The Rotary Club of Hudson, formed in 1930, is a group of men and women who support the international mission, but who are also joined together by a common interest in service to our own Hudson community. A sincere desire to give back. Our primary focus is on local activities such as student scholarships, the service learning class at Hudson High, Hudson Community First, Hudson Community Service, and Boy Scout Troop 321, to name just a few. In addition, Rotarians volunteer their services for such activities as Santa on the Green, Salvation Army's Red Kettle, Relay for Life, Hudson Bandstand, Art on the Green, Bob's Bikes, which is a program that we created and is unique to our club, the four-way speech contest, and many, many others. You might have heard of the four-way test, which is followed by Rotarians worldwide in their business and professional lives. It has been translated into more than 100 languages. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? You are about to watch excerpts from one of our recent meetings. Please enjoy.
Good morning, Rotarians and guest. I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms, and happy new Rotary year. The invocation this morning is by Jimmy Sutphin.
Thank you, Ron. To my Rotary friends, life is a journey on a train with its stations, with changes of routes, and with accidents. At birth, we board the train, meet our parents, and we believe that we'll always travel on our side. However, at some station, our parents will step down from the train, leaving us on this journey alone. As the time goes by, other people will board the train. They will be significant. Our siblings, friends, children, the love of our life. Many will step down and leave a permanent vacuum. Others will go so unnoticed that we don't realize they vacated their seats. The train ride will be full of joys, sorrows, fantasies, expectations, hellos, goodbyes, and farewells. Success consists of having a good relationship with all the passengers, requiring that we give the best of ourselves. The mystery is to everyone is we do not know which station ourselves will step down. So we must live in the best way, love, forgive, and offer the best of who we are. It is important to do this because when time comes for us to step down and leave our seat empty, we should leave behind beautiful memories for those who will continue to travel on the train of life. I wish you a joyful journey for the coming year on the train of life. Reap success and give lots of love. More importantly, thank God for the journey. And lastly, I want to thank you for being one of the passengers on my train.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jimmy. The pledge this morning in four-way test to be led by Andy Morse.
Good morning, Rotarians. Good morning, Andy. And on our train, we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And in response to all of the people who were on the train from Belgium and they got off, we will now say the four-way test. So, 1, is it the truth? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Andy. And to lead us in song, Dick Pearsall.
I feel like a conductor then, right?
Yeah.
I decided today we should sing our Star Spangled Banner. And I thought, boy, this is going to be something. Fortunately, we've got the words. The other important thing is it has to start on E flat or you can't sing the top notes. So I have to take that from my pitch pipe. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose white stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. Softly. And the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Here we go now. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. That was great, great, great.
I think you're on the caboose.
Much, much better than some of the renditions that people try to make out of that beautiful song. And now, to lead us in our new year, our president, Allison Feaster.
Thank you, everybody. And it is a Happy New Year, right?
Right.
So, of course, I have to wear my Happy New Year little hat.
Did Jim McKay leave that to you?
Happy New Year, everybody! Yay! Who's making a difference? We are. Great. We. First of all, I want to thank the greeters, Max Wendell and Craig Tallman, and our AV team, James Field, Jimmy Sutphin, and Larry Santon. Thank you for getting here early and getting things set up. Our club secretary, big applause for Chris Barker, will introduce our guests.
Yeah. All right.
Good morning, Rotarians, and welcome today. We'd like to welcome our guest, Ken Feaster, who's here to watch his wife as she does her first meeting. So if we can give him a warm Rotary welcome, please.
I have to tell you, he surprised me. He told me he was going to go work out. So by the time I found the right entrance to come in here, I went, wait, who is this man? Thanks, Kent. If you missed the annual awards dinner with the recognition last Wednesday, you missed a really nice event. And we want to recognize that Carl was the sole Rotarian who did come to Laurel Lake Wednesday morning. So I've reminded him next year to go to the country club, or to Lake Forest. Get my country clubs right. In case you didn't hear that, Ed Sogan said that Carl won the 50-50 raffle last week. I want to thank Rich Warfield, our outgoing president, for a job well done. Did you like your gifts? We got him a plaque with a gavel on it and then a dozen golf balls with the Rotary logo. Oh, he hasn't lost them yet. Good. At the dinner, however, he almost forgot to recognize two of our very important Rotarians. So Ron and Gail, would you come up here, please? For Ron, I have a Sergeant at Arms armband. And for Gail, from Nikki Nicole, I have a tiara. That seems appropriate, and you have to wear it. Yeah. Yes, Gail. And Ron with his armband on. Can you see that? Stand up, Gail. That looks gorgeous. Yay! Can you get it, Ron? Got it. Stand up for the camera.
Look at those guns. Someone said they can't switch.
Oh, they can't switch? Okay. And I wanted to recognize our Rotarian of the Year, Tom Page, who I think is still on vacation, but fabulous, fabulous Rotarian. He seemed to be everywhere, volunteering for the fall picnic, or was the annual picnic and the fall festival, and he's going to remain a director on the Rotary Club board. A nicer guy you'll never meet. You may not know this, but the Rotarians in this room and others who are not here, so that's all our active and honorary Rotarians, have contributed a total of 635 years of service to this community. So I want to thank all of you for a job well done. And we're looking forward to many more years together. Congratulations to Craig Tallman, who's taken over for me as president of the foundation. Yes. He'll be talking to you later about the foundation. Next, we're going to have Jimmy Sutphin, who's chair of our new Recognition Celebration Committee. Jimmy?
Thank you, Prez. Before the recognition, our meeting, not the 25th, but the 18th of June, was on the 6th District Compact. And there was a really excellent brochure and lots of information on that subject. There was a pass out. So if you happen not to be there on the 18th, there is a lot of these out there by the sign-in table and that round table. Please take one with you. It's pretty informative. And as my dad used to say when I was in the ink business, take one of everything, throw them away. They have to print more. I'm not kidding. But we would like to recognize a couple people. Unfortunately, they are not here this morning, Liz Ramsey and Jeff Tong, who joined our... Where's Jeff?
Right here.
Sorry about that. 20 lashes.
Got on the train at a different stop. Allison, I'm writing that down.
It's fine day. Oh, boy. Jeff, you joined our club in 2012. Your sponsor is Jim Young. So we'd like to have you stand up and take a bow. And Liz Ramsey is having surgery, so she is not here today, but she joined our club in 2006, and her sponsor is Connie Murkowski. And Connie, we do have a card for Connie. She will be having surgery next week, so I'm going to pass this around. I'd like to have you put your name on it, and then we can put it in the mail. And there are two birthdays this week. Dan Williams is out of the country, and Mike Lewis is here. So, Mike, we have a derogatory card here for you. We're going to pass that around, and we won't tell anybody how old you are. But he was born in 1941.
Thank you, Jimmy. You made me a year younger than I am.
Okay.
1940.
1940. How about that? So I will leave this here. I want to take Allison's notes And thank you very much.
Thanks, Jimmy. We're going to be replacing the 3-minute Rotarian with the 5-minute Rotarian. So you'll have the opportunity to talk about your occupation, your business, career, or a hobby or something you're passionate about. We're going to go in alphabetical order. Jimmy Hearn introduced himself playing golf, and he's going out of town July 9th. So the next in order is John Archer. Heads up, John, will you be here next Wednesday? I should be, yeah. Good. We'll look forward to hearing all about your career. All right. Okay. I'll tell you all about it. And also we're going to be instituting the Lyle Polhe Attendance Award. We know he had perfect attendance from the time he joined until he died, and I don't expect that of us. But we're going to have awards for those who have the most attendance, that is, who have attended the most meetings. That's true. We better recognize Andy Morris right now because he's 1 out of 1. Congratulations, Andy. No prize. Next, we're going to play Rotary Jeopardy. If you went to the dinner, then you know that we play it just like we do on TV. I'll give the answer, and you have to be the first. Raise your hand, and our Sergeant at Arms will recognize you. You have to give your response in the form of a question, or you don't win. I think that Rich found that out the hard way, and he had to give back his light-up yo-yo. Yes. So I'll give you the 2 examples we used at the dinner. This Rotarian took the road less traveled, and that has made all the difference. Raise your hand. Good. Not a seasoning, not a spice. This Rotarian is nothing but nice. James Field won this one right away. Who is Dave Basil? Did you enjoy the horn for your bike?
The entire family's enjoying it.
Oh, good. Okay, are we ready to play? This is a bunny, so you should all have your hands raised. This Rotarian's gift of gab and storytelling is legendary. And all God's children said amen. Come get your prize. It's a Lucky Clover a grow kit, so you can grow your own 4-leaf clover.
Could you repeat?
The chia?
It's a clover, not a chia. You've been in Phoenix too long.
Could you repeat the answer for the? Could you repeat the answer for the audience at home?
Who is Jimmy Sutphin? Thank you, James. Next, we're going to have a weekly speaker, and that's going to be Duncan Tanner, who's going to talk to you for just a short 2 minutes, 3 minutes, about the history of Rotary. You'll learn things you never knew.
Good morning, fellow history buffs. Good morning. That's how I will greet you weekly. Are you ready? Right. Folks, every week I'm going to take 2 to 3 minutes, I promise 2 to 3 minutes, and share information about our local club, Rotary around the country, Rotary around the world, and key events in history where key Rotarians were involved. Without further ado, history offering number 1, things you might not know about Rotary. The term Rotary came from the fact that originally meetings rotated from one member's office to another. Rotary's symbol was originally a wagon wheel. It was later changed to a gear with cogs and spokes, and it was meant to symbolize movement and civilization, as in the birth of the wheel. Rotary was not the first service club in the world. It was, however, the first service club that explicitly stayed away from political, social, and religious influence and affiliation, first in the world. Rotary's motto has changed several times over the years. In 1911, the first official motto was, "He profits most who serves best."
A year later, that was adapted to service, not self. In 1950, we went unofficially with service above self. And folks, it wasn't until 1989 that Rotary International officially adopted the motto service above self. 2 of the first 6 international Rotary presidents were from Ohio. 1 from Toledo, 1 from Cleveland. Ohio is tied for 2nd in the number of Rotary International presidents. It is tied with Indiana and Alabama. The first, California, has provided 9 international Rotary presidents. Founder Paul Harris was Rotary's only 2-time president. However, he refused to become Rotary's first president. Rotary's famous 4-way test has a compelling backstory. The test was originally created by Chicago Rotarian Herbert J. Taylor for a local metals company that was facing bankruptcy. Taylor had been told by the board of directors that the company's leadership was involved in shady dealings, and those shady dealings were largely responsible for the company's woes. Taylor developed the test to make sure that this emerging company had sound business practices and a moral and ethical compass. That company became Alcoa. The Rotary Foundation was established in 1928 and made its first gift in 1930. That gift was $500 to an emerging organization called the National Society for Crippled Children. That society later became known as Easter Seals, founded by an Elyria, Ohio Rotarian named Edgar Allen. And finally, folks, 8 U.S. presidents were actually Rotarians. And for those of you that are dying to know, there were more Republicans than Democrats. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Next week, Rotary goes to the dogs. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very intriguing and interesting. Before I forget, I wanted to have Larry Santon give a brief announcement. And we're looking forward to Vine Master starting up August 6th. It's a surprise, but he just
If you don't know, you get fined.
We're coming up on Art on the Green. We're coming up on Art on the Green. Bob passed this around at our last meeting 2 weeks ago, so I'm sending it around again to sign up. And whenever it finishes, try to find me. I'll be over here somewhere and give it back to me.
And now finally, what you all have been waiting for, Gail Royster, our speaker chair for this month.
Good morning, Rotarians. Good morning. We are dedicating the month of July to getting to know a little bit more about Rotary and what our club does. The various committee chairs are going to take their turn explaining what they do, why they do it, and why it is so much fun to give back to the community. So we're going to start this morning with Dexter James, who is going to tell us all about the exciting social events that he has planned. Dexter?
Our new president asked me to chair the social event, so I have put a little presentation together. Should be about 5 minutes, hopefully. So let's start with talking about my voice here. My voice is going to be a little deep. I may cough a little bit, have some kind of bronchial thing. It's not contagious, but I will be singing baritone going forward. The social events for 2014, 2015. First of all, why are we doing social events in the first place? Well, it's because of our 4-way test. It's the truth that we want to know more about you. It is fair to all concerned that you share what you do and what's important to you with us. It will bring goodwill and better friendships if we know you better and you know us better. And it will be beneficial to all concerned for all of us, for us to be better Rotarians if we know each other a little better. And this is what social events is all about. What are they? They're get to know you events. And what do we want to get to know? We want to get to know you better. I think Rich did a great job of figuring out how do you get to know people about their history and what they do and what they're committed to with regard to Rotarian and their volunteer. But you really get to know people when you know who's important to them and what's important to them. So when you go to some of these social events, one of the things I want you to recognize is I want you to bring someone that we don't know and introduce us to them. And I want you to tell someone something about you that they don't know. So for example, I'm gonna tell you something about me. I have a son, his name is Dexter Michael. He's 5 years old and he plays golf. And I have a picture on my phone of him hitting a golf ball about 75 yards. That's important to me. One, because he's my son. Two, because I love golf and he loves golf. And three, I get to share that with you. So that's one of the things I want you guys to do as well. Who's invited to these events? Everybody. Anybody who's important to you, whether they go to your church or they're your neighbor, anybody that you want to introduce to Rotary, they should be invited to these events. How do you sign up? That's the most important thing about today. I have sign-up sheets for the summer events for July and August. I'm going to leave them out here. Sign up today, and I will tell you what some of those events will be, but please sign up now. If you want to come to some of the summer events, there are timetables for when we need to get some of those things done. So please sign up today if possible. How do you sign up and how do you volunteer? Call me. Those are my numbers. There's my work number. There's my cell number. I want to write those down or just call me. I'm on the list in Rotary. Try to figure out how to get in contact with me, and we'll make sure that you get to some of the social events. The events for July. The first one is the summer picnic. That's this Saturday. It's at my office, 1315A Corporate Drive, right across the street from Joanne Fabrics. The reason why we're having it there is because that's the same day of the fireworks. So if you want to come to that, come as early as 6 o'clock. It will last as long as the fireworks. We'll have a picnic. We're having a magician. His name is Rick Smith Jr. I don't know if you've ever seen him, but he's really good. He's Entertainer of the Year last year in Northeast, in Ohio. There's going to be a bounce house for the little ones and all that good stuff. Again, you want to sign up. The sign-up sheet will be out here, so you can sign up today and come to the summer picnic on Saturday. Today's the last day, by the way, that you can tell me that you want to come to that because I'm buying the food tomorrow. Screen on the Green. That is going to be held on Friday, July 18th. This one is more of a movie for adults. They had one last month. It was June 18th, I believe. And it was the movie Frozen. That was more of a kid thing. And because we're in Northeast Ohio, half the people left by the time we got halfway through the movie, and the other half of us were frozen because it was cold out there. There's going to be a Friday TGIF. So the last Friday of the month, thanks to Duncan Tanner for giving us this suggestion, we're going to do a kind of a get together at 6 o'clock. We're doing it at Johnny's. So if you guys want to come to that, again, it's going to be the last Friday of the month. August events. In Polio Indians baseball game. I have the sign-up sheet for that as well. Those need to be in by the 15th. So if you haven't signed up for the baseball game, please get to me. Make sure you sign up by the 15th. By the way, Gail asked me to slow down and make sure that if anybody had any questions, I let them ask questions. So I'm going to do that now through my mentor extraordinaire, Gail Royster. Does anybody have any questions about the July events or the August events or how to sign up? Duncan.
Here, Tanner.
What was the time? Oh, I'm sorry. Are we on? Dexter, what was the time for the July 5th picnic?
The time for the July 5th picnic is 6 o'clock is when it starts. That's when my caterer will start cooking all the food. And then the magician won't go on until 8. And then the fireworks probably won't start until about 9:30.
Thank you.
Gail.
Is there a charge?
There is no charge for the picnic. There will not be a charge for any of these things unless I tell you that there's a charge. So for the picnic, there's no charge. That's basically on me. Screen on the Green, there's no charge. We're just all going to get together. We're going to kind of bring your own beer, bring your own wine, and we're going to set up our kind of little area for us to watch the Screen on the Green. And TGIF, again, you just buy whatever you want when you're there. Any other questions?
Will that be put on the website, or could you guys send us an email or something like that?
Yeah, I'm going to send that to Gail today to make sure that everything gets on the
Great.
website. I'm going to do that today as soon as I get to my office. Well, first I got to go to the doctor but then I'll send it to Gail. Yeah. Any other questions? Good. August, Indians game, and then we also have the golf outing. I need to know by August 15th at the latest whether or not you're going to play. If I don't know by August 15th, we have a drop dead date of we got to tell the golf course whether or not we're going to take the whole course, half the course. And so if I don't know by August 15th, and then you call me on the 16th and say, well, I got 10 people that want to play, I may say, I'm sorry, we can't accommodate you. So make sure that you get to me by August 15th whether or not you're going to play in the golf outing. And I do need people to help me out with that, so please sign up for that as a volunteer. And then there's the TGI Friday in August as well. So more to come on the events. But what do I want you to do? Sign up now. Sign up now. All right, stay tuned. More events to come. Any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Dexter. Sounds like you are super organized, and it's going to be a wonderful summer of activities, a whole variety of things. So thank you very much for that. Next, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do as program chair, and that is to arrange monthly speakers. And so far, we are almost booked for the entire year. Some of you may not have gotten your emails yet, John Archer. Oh, did you? And was that a yes? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So we basically, at this point, we are booked for the entire year. And the advantage there is that each of you has different backgrounds. And when you are a speaker chair for the month, you have the opportunity to showcase some of your colleagues or people that you know that you feel would be of great interest or educational toward for our club. So it's really wonderful to have such a variety of people. And I will have the schedule posted on the website for each month's speaker chair. And then on the home page, we always have the current month and who the speakers are. So, oh, he's got it. Good job, James. All right. So this whole month, you can see who is going to speak. And then as soon as Jim Ahern gets back, he's my August chair, we'll post his speakers as well. Next, we are going to have a little talk by Craig Tallman, who is going to explain to us what the foundation is all about. Why do we have one? What does it do? How do we put a grant application together? What is the process? And he had rather short notice. He's a brand new president of the foundation. So please welcome Craig Tallman.
Well, thank you very much, Gail, and good morning, Rotarians. Good morning, Craig. I think we're off to a great start. Great lineup here, and I feel like I got big shoes to fill already in terms of keeping you engaged about what we're talking about. I guess with respect, I say that I know that many of you in this room have served in some form or another as a capacity working with our foundation. And so I think, you obviously have a deep knowledge of what we have done in the past, what we're about, and so forth. But I think to kind of frame up what we would like to achieve this year, I'd kind of like to remind ourselves about the very essence of our existence and why it's important as a governing body and the things that we do with the monies that are raised by this organization. I think, you know, thinking about it a little bit, the one word I wanted to emphasize here is our phrase that I want to share with you, and that is that we manage monetary distributions in a legal, responsible, and collaborative manner. And the word collaborative is what I'd really like to focus on, because, you know, my term on the board has not only been insightful for myself personally, it's something I've always wanted to have some experience doing in the years past. But, you know, I think there's plenty of opportunity for us to continue to work collaboratively with the club board to ensure that, you know, the desires of the club itself are continued to be channeled in such a way as we distribute monies to support, you know, the various causes that are important to us as residents of Hudson and certainly the region as well. So we'll be working with that idea in mind as we get into the new year. And, you know, what we do, the word, you know, fiduciary responsibility, that phrase comes into play, just to remind ourselves that, you know, as we do our deliberations in terms of evaluating the various requests that come to us, we do so with great responsibility, and our committees are organized exactly to do it in such a way that we can say we have that fiduciary responsibility, and we practice it with great respect. You may or may not be aware, and we'll try to do a better job as we move into the year on a quarterly basis, informing this group as to our progress. But last year, I think we made significant progress in trying to help ourselves understand how we manage the monies. We created an investment committee under Allison's leadership. That committee is chaired by George Snyder. And, you know, one of the outcomes was that we, you know, clearly define, you know, where our pools of money are. And with that idea, while we may have had what we consider to be an endowment, we really have what's considered now a permanent fund as well as an operating fund. And the operating fund's important to us because that allows us to do the things during the year that we as a club want ourselves to do to support our communities, okay? The permanent fund acts more as the endowment itself. And by design, our goal is, long-term of course, is that one day that the permanent fund would be so strong and sufficient to support the causes we would like to support and take the pressure off of the events that we tend to manage very well throughout the year, such as our fall fundraising activities as well as the highlight of the entire year, and that's our gala event. Not to say we don't want to do them, because I think those things are part of our brand. They're part of who we are in the communities and so forth. I'll share a story with you real quick. I had a chance to speak before another Rotary group here about 4 months ago, and it was the Lakewood Rocky River group. It combines itself in that way. And I happened to be there the day they were handing out their grants or distributing their grants, and they do it in a different way. As you recall, our history here is one that we like to celebrate a single offering to a group here at one of our breakfast meetings, and we do so with the celebration of the check being awarded that we present. Photographs are taken, some make the papers and so forth, and all of us celebrate that, and it's a big deal for us. They do theirs as a group. So they bring in, you know, 5 to 7 different organizations. They make the presentations all in that particular format as a luncheon meeting and whatnot. But the thing that really caught my attention was when they gave out the fiscal report. They talked about it that day about their permanent fund, and their assets are over $1 million. And I was absolutely wowed by that. Of course, I'm sure that club has great history to it, but so do we. And by comparison, I don't think ours are small by comparison because we have a good start. Our assets, so you know, exceed $110,000 in our endowment fund. Or Rich, do you have a number for us?
I'm glad you brought that up. Is Joe Avella here? I just gave him the accounting through the gala event, which obviously was in May, Craig, through May 31st, we're at 199 total.
Fantastic.
Between perm and
that includes the operating fund.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I think when we get June booked, which obviously closed on Monday, I think there's some residual receipts from the gala event. Hopefully that'll push us over 200.
Yeah, so that number alone, that's a $37,000 improvement from where we were a year ago. And do the math from a percentage standpoint, that's a substantial gain. So the foundation board is seriously focused on how do we do more with what we have in order to support the causes that we support. Art, did you have a comment also?
Craig, I just wanted to say, I think the permanent fund's up to about 123,000.
Is it? Okay, and that's, I think that's, last time I looked, about 110, something like that, so that's a nice improvement as well. So, you know, we focus a lot on managing those two funds, operating fund, permanent fund. Operating fund supports the budget. Permanent fund is what we depend on to keep this thing going for the long term. We spent a lot of time and seriously taking the time necessary to evaluate grant requests. We have a process. Gail mentioned it briefly. It starts with a format that we ask people to complete with great detail, because we don't take these requests lightly. It's not arbitrary. And some requests are small. Some are for $250. That would be small for us. But we're starting to see more in the $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 category. And by the way, the grants that I was watching over at Lakewood that one day ranged basically $1,000 to $2,500. It's just a range. So the other thing I would add to this is that we're beginning to see more new requests. Many of you know from your experience working with the foundation in the past, we do have a budget process, and we do plan distributions for various organizations in the Hudson area for the year. In other words, we anticipate that they're going to ask us again to support their cause for the year. And we budget money similar to what we've given to them historically. The one that comes to my mind is HCTV. We've been in partnership with them for several years, and so we budget for that. But we're beginning to see new people come into play that are people who have not been budgeted in the past. They have not been awarded grants in the past. But they present serious reasons for us to give them credible consideration. And so I think that's going to be a challenge for us as we move forward in this particular fiscal year. Just this morning, Roseanne handed me a new request that we got, and it's for, I think, $2,000, right? So somebody we've never evaluated before, but our due process will have to take that into consideration, and where does it fit in terms of the total pipeline. We do operate, as some of you may know, but I want to remind ourselves, we do operate under a code of regulations. And we do evaluate those with some frequency, no less than once a year, to ensure that the code of regulations are contemporary with our needs. So we do make adjustments. And one of the adjustments we made most recently is we expanded the number of trustees to be on the foundation board. And frankly, I am looking for some volunteers that would like to help us in that capacity. So if you're interested, please contact me. And we need additional capacity at the foundation board because frankly, the committee work is where our work is done at the committee level, as you may already be familiar with. It takes people, it takes hours, it takes time. And so we need to expand our capacity to do that work. We have three very important committees that we report on in each of our meetings. I mentioned already the investment committee, which has the responsibility to ensure that we are, certainly focused with reason to manage our funds accordingly. And one of the things the investment committee has recommended and we have adopted, that we should be investing no less than $5,000 a year in the permanent fund. And that's from funds that have been raised through all the activities. And that's in addition to the investment benefit that Art just talked about here a few moments ago. So we're going to embrace that with rigor and make sure that we do that. Second committee is the Plan Giving Committee, excuse me. It's a new committee. It's one that, it's just starting to get its legs, frankly. But it has so much potential in the way that, it can help this organization provide the necessary funds to ensure the permanent fund is well taken care of over the years ahead. Last year, we introduced the annual giving process around the holiday time. We'll talk about that at our upcoming meetings here, and we'll probably reschedule that for a different time during the year so it doesn't conflict with that. But I think it has real purpose. And I want to remind everybody, as individual donors, we are a 501c3. organizations, so individual cash donations that would go into these funds are tax deductible. And the last committee, which is also very important, is our grant committee, made up of members from not only from the foundation board, but also from the club board as well, to ensure that we can jointly and collaboratively evaluate these particular grant requests that do come in. And our process is very simple. We take receipt of the grant committee evaluates it jointly. They make a recommendation in which we determine at that point, does it go to the club board or not. It goes to the club board, they review it again. If they do bless it, it comes back to the foundation board for a final vote, which is recorded. And these are the fiscal responsibilities, the fiduciary responsibilities that we have. So our records go back several years. I already got the records from Allison the other day that document these type of decisions in a very legal and responsible way. We do have an annual meeting. It's scheduled for July 25th. Anybody outside the foundation is certainly welcome to attend, but typically by our code of regulations, our responsibility at that meeting is to adopt a budget, which we'll be working on. We are working on it right now. We'll be electing our staff officers, which include a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. And certainly we'll be setting the agenda for the year in terms of some of the goals we'll want the committees to work on. Budget process is no easy task. We do try to forecast, the type of monies that will be distributed throughout the year for both grants and scholarships. We do try to anticipate, the proceeds that can be raised throughout the year, including fall fundraising program and the gala event. And we try to budget a little slack money there as well for the type of gift requests that do come in, like that we do consider as a group essential to the welfare of our community. And we do have a couple that do come around on a regular basis. I do want to take a moment here because I don't want to overlook, all of us in this room today that contribute to the success of the foundation. I'd like to introduce a few people that certainly have helped us along the way. Joe Avella is not here today, I don't think, but he is acting as our treasurer at this time. Roseanne Drake, sitting over to my right here, is our board secretary. Has done a great job for us in the past year. I mentioned George Snyder is chairman of our investment committee. Members of our trustees, members of the foundation, Dan Williams. Dan's not here with us today. Phil Warburton, and I know Phil's sitting right over here. Phil's helped us a great deal with our planned giving committee thought process and getting it organized. Art LaFountain, very active in our investment committees and basically chairs the relationships with our group funding, funding groups like Vanguard and so forth, and does a very good job in that. Jim Young is a club representative that participates on our grant committee, and I don't know if Jim's here today. Is it Jim? Well, there you are. Okay, thank you. Den Rich is new to the foundation again, but he'll be representing the club board this year with our various meetings. And of course, our past president, Rich Warfield. And I hope I haven't missed anybody else that's participated along the way and it's on the board at this time. As I said, we are looking for some new members. And if you're interested in becoming a trustee this year in the foundation, feel free to contact me in that regard. At this time, I'll certainly take any questions that you may have, but I did want to share with you the ideas that we presently have around the foundation, what we're trying to accomplish, and give you a little insight to the things we'll be focusing on this year. But I'll be happy to take questions at this time.
Craig,
Yeah.
not necessarily, I guess, a question. It's more geared towards the investment side of the funds. And Arthur, you can correct me if I'm wrong, or Craig, or anybody else that wants to.
Yeah.
The funds have done tremendously well in the last X amount of years, and Art could probably talk more detail about that. But being on the account still as the now past president, it's nice to say that. The account's still in my name, so Arthur and I have executed trades in the last 6 months, and really, I feel so comfortable with the people that are in charge with the foundation now versus when I got on the foundation over 8 years ago as treasurer. Don't take this the wrong way. We had excellent people there too, or back then, but I feel very comfortable with the direction that everything is going, and especially, we all have experienced upticks in our personal portfolios, hopefully, that it's really been reflective on the foundation's investments, or with the foundation investments. And Arthur, and George, don't want to forget about you again, and other people, Dan, so forth, have all been attributable to this growth with the right funds for the foundation's assets to be in. So I just wanted to make, Art, did you want to say anything on that front?
Oh, thank you, Rich. Other questions or comments?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Does the foundation take stock donations?
Absolutely. I mean, there's various monetary instruments that we can entertain and process and invest accordingly. So, and again, I want to remind everybody that, you know, we all like to support various charitable causes and so forth. I just want to remind ourselves not to overlook ourselves. We do have a very active fundraising process here at our Rotary Club, but individual giving is also a very important opportunity for us to consider as our year planning moves forward. Yeah, Tom.
Craig, along those lines, you didn't happen to ask the Lakewood Rocky River how they got to $1 million?
No, you know, I didn't directly. I did get the impression in talking to one of their officers that they just have a deep history, and it's very broad-based. They have a larger club, and I just get the impression that they're just, you know, decades in existence.
Ahead of us. I think our foundation's, what, maybe about 15 years old or so?
I don't know that for sure.
Okay, but let me just
I mean, the records, yeah, I was going to say the records I saw go back to the early 2000s.
But let me mention one thing, because I suspect it's not, the size of that foundation is not completely attributable to their version of auctions.
No, I suspect, Tom, they have some major gifts in there as well.
I suspect that if you look back, you'd find some testamentary gifts, some loyal Rotarians who have made the local Rotary Foundation part of their will.
Right.
And I just want to make a pitch for that.
And I appreciate that, Tom, because I think, you know, that framework of discussion is a tremendous opportunity for ourselves. And it's one that our Planned Giving Committee will be working on, you know, more so this year.
Craig, Tom's question in regard to Lakewood Rocky River, part of it is, of course, Lakewood is a much, much larger city than Hudson. There's 70,000 people. And then Lakewood and Rocky River used to be separate clubs. And then they merged quite a number of years ago. So a whole history of things there that caused that large amount of money to come together.
Sure, and please don't misunderstand my reason for bringing it up. I'm not trying to compare us to anybody, okay? What I'm trying to say is that, you know, clubs do have the opportunity to do much more over the years. And it takes a plan. It takes a committed group of people. Our goal should be conservative, but we should be consistent in expecting growth in that permanent fund. Yeah,
Craig, I'd like to just add on too. I think we've kind of given ourselves a goal that one of these days we'd like to get to $1 million too. And if we could do $1 million, then you could spin off $50,000 worth of income a year to do, again, charitable giving.
Right.
But in order to get to $1 million, we got to get to 2, we got to get to 3, and so I think there's 2 aspects of that. Is one, I think we've traditionally given away pretty much everything we bring in during the course of the year through our fundraising efforts, and not consistently contributed to the permanent fund. That's one of the reasons why we established that. We'd like to see at least $5,000 go into that from our fundraising every year. And then if we had some testamentary gifts or planned giving gifts that also went into this, I think, again, it wouldn't be very many years that we would be looking at $200,000, $300,000, and that's, again, the direction that we want to take the committee in. So.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the final numbers yet, but I'm guessing right now we will approach $30,000 in gifts this year between the combination of grants and scholarships, which is very close to what we had budgeted. So, other questions? Well, thank you for your time this morning. And again, if anybody's interested, please contact me. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about the opportunity. Okay? Thank you.
I'm going to, because I need to do this on the mic, hand off the presidency of the foundation officially to Craig with this blank check.
Very good.
And I've asked Craig to give a brief update on the status of the foundation every fourth meeting. So we'll be real partners with the foundation once again. I'd like to remind everybody there's a board meeting next Wednesday. Everybody's welcome. Come participate, find out what we're going to do. And next, our most fun event. It's time for Rotabuck. Who would like to? I think it should be the lady with the tiara, don't you? As she shines her way up here.
All right. Okay, the right number is 018875. Oh. Bill. That works.
There's for you. And I've, yeah, hold it high and hold it true. Okay. See you next week.
Thank you for watching our program, and thanks to HCTV for providing us the opportunity to televise our Rotary meetings. Our club meets every Wednesday throughout the year at 7:15 a.m. in Laurel Lakes Community Room. You are most welcome to attend one of our meetings to learn more about our mission. Thank you.